Hi, Miss Josie. Thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate that you made time to meet back up with me to talk about Philip.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So before we get started discussing Philip, I did want to talk about two things. One of them is about how I like to do consultation. I really like to work collaboratively with the teacher I'm working with, and sometimes the family and the parent and the kid. So in doing that, I'd like to problem solve and brainstorm with you as much as possible, because I'm not the expert. In many ways, you're the expert. You know your classroom, you know this child, and you kind of are going to be the best source of kind of figuring out what works for him.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay. And then the other thing I want to discuss is confidentiality. I take that very seriously. What we discuss about here is going to stay in between you and I. I will not be talking to the principal, the students' parents about what we discuss. This will stay between us. That being said, this might go further with this kid. It sounds like there's some serious issues, and so we might come to a student study team or an IEP at some point, and we'll be having those family team meetings, and I won't be discussing these things. However, some of these things will need to come up in those times. So, feel free to share what we discuss.
Okay.
I just want you to know that. However, there are some exceptions with confidentiality. Like you, I'm a mandated reporter, and so if I hear about anyone being threatened or assault or physically hurt, or threatening to hurt themselves or others, I do have to report it.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, great. If you have any questions at any point about how that works in consultation, though, my confidentiality, feel free to ask me. But if you don't have any questions at this time, I'd love to begin talking about Philip. I just want to let you know I'm going to be taking down some notes while we talk, so that way I don't get things confused. And
awesome.
Yeah, because it's important to me. So, tell me about Philip's behaviors.
So, Philip's new at our school. He's very aggressive towards some of our students and some of our staff, and he's just trying to figure things out right now.
Okay. So when you say aggressive, can you kind of give me an example of a behavior that was aggressive this past week, or some of the behaviors he engages in?
Yeah, definitely. So like yesterday, he was in a PE class, unstructured definitely, and a student said, "Hey, I like your shirt," and he was not okay with that. He started punching them and put them to the ground by their throat and pounding their head against the cement.
Oh wow. So assaultive towards peers.
Very aggressive.
Okay. And so you said Philip's new to the school.
Yes.
How long has he been here?
So Philip just got here 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And he started in a 5th grade class, and he's moved down to the 3rd grade for his academic needs.
Okay, so he was delayed, and we assessed him to put him down to a 3rd grade. Okay. It's good to know. Okay, so like you were saying, his behavior is pretty assaultive, pretty aggressive. How frequently does he have a behavior like that?
Once a day. Philip is aggressive towards definitely students, young girl students in which he's in the same grade with, and non-Spanish speaking boys.
Okay. So he has a behavior, a serious behavior once a day?
Yeah, once a day.
Where he's assaultive?
Yes.
Okay. And he's typically, you said, just assaultive towards our female students and some non-speaking Spanish male students.
Yeah.
Okay. And it seems like all of those behaviors pretty intense, like as assaultive kids are getting beat up every day?
Yeah, every day he has his hands on another student.
Okay. So the last question about the behavior is the duration. I'm curious about.
So normally the duration of when he's hands-on towards another student, not more than 5 minutes. Obviously, we're trying to contain it. Sometimes if it's a female teacher in which he doesn't trust, that containment doesn't always happen, because we need to call on someone who he does trust, whether it's another male teacher or a female teacher.
Okay, so we try to act quickly, but from the start of the comment with the shirt to the pulling the kid, or separating the students, can take up to 5 minutes. So he can maintain his aggression for a fairly decent amount of time.
Definitely.
Okay. So we're talking about some pretty serious behaviors.
Yeah.
So let's kind of look at what comes before those behaviors. You mentioned a kid saying something nice. What other things typically?
So Philip is a Spanish-speaking only student, and I know that he doesn't understand a lot of things students say. So if someone's staring at him too long, or if a student's speaking to him in English, that gets his aggression going because he doesn't understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've identified two very important things. The language barrier is huge,
Yeah.
and the eye contact. It's really great that you picked up on that.
Yeah.
That can be overlooked sometimes. Okay, so you've noticed those two things can kind of trigger him, and then there's an upset. So
Yeah, as well as it's always in like an unstructured area or an environment.
okay, that's also very noticeable too, right?
Yeah.
So he does a lot better in structured environments.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there certain groups of kids that trigger him more than other kids? I think you touched on that a little bit.
Normally it's, girls or, like I said, non-Spanish speaking children who definitely trigger him. Normally it's the female girls, even if they're trying to befriend him, he doesn't want anything to do with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when he's in certain classrooms or in certain unstructured times, does some of the adult interactions trigger him?
Yeah, so he doesn't fully trust many of our female teachers. He only trusts about 2 or 3 of us.
Okay.
When it comes to male teachers, he totally respects anything they have to say, even if he doesn't understand. He does understand the body language in which they're trying to give off, and he respects that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's notable, and can definitely help us with working with him, kind of identifying his safe people, but also looking at those people and deciding seeing how they interact with him, and kind of utilizing that to build those trusting relationships with other adults and some peers too.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of the consequences that he usually gets for these behaviors?
Because they're so violent, he does have to be removed. We have to do a lot of reporting. He goes to the principal's office, and
Once a day.
once a day, and depending on how severe it is suspended for days, but normally in-house because being at home is a reward.
Okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Are these planned things that you guys have talked with the parents and other professionals?
Yeah,
other
we've
staff?
talked with the parents a lot about it, because they do say, yeah, when they're at home, it's a reward for him.
That's good.
Yeah, and so they don't mind if he's there, but
Okay.
they know that if he is there, it's more of a reward, and that's why the in-house, and we have him in place because it is so aggressive.
Okay. So you've identified a ton of like antecedents to the behavior.
Yeah.
Do you know what the behavior serves?
No, I just think he grew up in that kind of environment, when he was at school, he mentioned to me that that's what they were taught, and so I think just his background and his growing up brought him to that.
Okay, so can you elaborate more on his background?
Okay, so he came from Mexico 3 weeks ago, and he talks to myself and another female teacher in which he trusts about it, and he tells us that his school didn't teach him academics, but taught him how to fight and how to find the triggers in which someone's telling him it's time to fight.
Okay, so he's perceiving that eye contact, or maybe some of the body language when somebody's giving him a compliment as, hey, it's time to fight. So it's kind of that conditioned response
Definitely.
to the situation he's grown up in, his background, that kind of connects the dots.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Are there times where he's pretty successful? I know you said unstructured earlier leads to some
So
behavior.
Philip only has 2 female teachers other than like the male teachers, and they're mostly aides, PE instructors, and our computer lab guy. So when he's with the 2 teachers who are instructing him and teaching him, he does pretty well with the 2 of us. He does trust us. However, when he goes to any other class where there's an aide who's trying to communicate with him, he's totally shut off down.
Okay. So having that trusting relationship is important.
Definitely.
And then you said male teachers he does better with, and then 2 identified female teachers.
Yeah.
Does he tend to do better in structured time with you? And well, does he do better in structured time versus unstructured time?
Definitely. Unstructured time is when all of the behaviors are happening. Structured time, he knows what is expected out of him. Even if he's not fully understanding when the teacher's speaking English, he sits there quietly. There's only been one instance where a child had to go to the bathroom and walked by him and stared at him and set him off. But other than that.
So you've only had one classroom in your classroom related behavior, but most of these behaviors are in things like PE and recess,
Definitely.
I'm sure, and maybe some like library time, or like you said,
Yeah.
when it's unstructured with an aide, or different than normal.
Definitely.
Okay. So one of the things I'm thinking about doing, if you don't mind, is observing him
Of
in
course.
some of these unstructured, but also in some of the structured environments to see what is working.
Okay.
Do you have any insight to what you are doing, or you know?
In the structured environments, even though I know he can't understand me because I do not speak Spanish, he has friends that are around that will speak with him, and he's safe with those students, as well as if he is doing good in the classrooms in which he feels safe, we're giving him tickets and things to encourage the good behavior, and that will win him things later in the
And he desires that.
He definitely desires those.
That is good. So you kind of already found it, so like a pathway that works. The language barrier is hard because like you would tend to do praise,
Definitely.
but because that language barrier exists and you don't want to set him off, the
Yeah.
tickets work. And I'm sure a peer that speaks Spanish or
Yeah, definitely.
had explained all this to him, or did the teacher?
Yeah,
Okay.
they've become really good friends.
Okay, so he has some good identified peers. Are they
Yeah.
close to him in instructional time?
I have one that has been moved into our class, particularly instructional time, and that has gave Philip a great understanding and great environment in that classroom.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. I'm glad that is working, and I'm glad the tickets are working.
Definitely.
It'd be great to put something like that into effect in these other milieus that he's in, and on the
Yeah.
playground, or after recess, if he gets through without a fight, or PE gets through without a fight, and saying, "Great job, here's a ticket."
Yeah.
So maybe I'll observe and kind of see if that would be fitting for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And you kind of talked about the recent changes that have been impacting him. Looking
Yeah.
at that maybe a little bit more, so maybe I'll call his mom. Maybe I'll call her a little bit later today,
Okay.
and see if I can kind of talk to her. Is it his mom that he's living with, or his dad?
He's living with his dad, but his stepmom you can contact. She speaks English.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Okay,
Yeah,
I will
so we
contact.
translate through
Yeah.
the two of them.
So I will contact them today and kind of get some more information on him, and then probably in the next few days I'll be in your classroom and observing him and kind of getting some hands-on experience so we can go forward
Okay, definitely.
to manage these behaviors. So what would the desired outcome kind of be as far as taking these assaultive behaviors to every day? What would you like to see?
I'd like to see Philip just follow the school rules and the hands-off policy and just respect his peers, especially the ones that are trying to befriend him.
Okay.
The other thing I really would like to focus on Philip is trying to get him to respect the other female teachers there. I know he's had some past problems with his real mom being abusive towards him and his father, so he has a hurdle to overcome there, but definitely just trying to earn that respect for those teachers.
Building those trusting relationships.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight, because it seems like you have a great relationship, you're very insightful about Philip, about building those with other teachers?
He says that he doesn't like women because they're all like his mother. However, he has earned that relationship with myself and another teacher, and it's kind of rare because we both don't speak Spanish, and
Okay.
so it's more difficult. but we do smile and do good things and try to make him feel more comfortable. Yeah.
Have you seen, I know you had mentioned earlier, he has a difficult relationship with his speech teacher.
Yeah.
Who I know is also Spanish speaking. Does he tend to have poor relationships with Spanish speaking women?
He does have a really hard time with Spanish speaking women. We have a couple other aides that have tried to step in and try to talk with him to help him better understand, and he just says nope and crosses his arms and does not want to have anything to do with it.
Okay. So that is a big hurdle for him, but one we can understand.
Definitely.
And maybe work through with Philip.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question I kind of have for you is, I know we moved him from 5th to 3rd because of his difficulty,
Yeah.
and he was just shutting down and stuff. But how is his skill level with the assignments you're giving? How's that working?
So he's doing really well. He's actually in our after-school program now, and another student offered to go in the after-school program with him and help him with his academics because he does speak Spanish, and the teacher in that class is a Hispanic woman who only could speak Spanish, so we knew that would kind of be hard. So he's doing really well academically with his friend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that just naturally happened, or how did that work?
So Philip told his friend Eric that he wanted him to come with him if he had to do it, and Eric was willing to do that for him.
That is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So he's improving, he's excelling. Is he getting a little more comfortable?
He's getting more comfortable with other boys in the class. He only does speak to one female. She does speak Spanish, so I think that's helping. We're starting to move that way. But he's still definitely shut off to females who speak English, and he has no clue what they're saying.
Yeah. So there's progress and growth if he could stay in school and continue some of those things and instead of getting sent home frequently or in school, kind of building on those strengths that he naturally has. Asking his friend that's amazing to come with him so he can feel more comfortable is an amazing strength that Philip exhibits. Well, like I said, I'll be talking to his family. I'll be in your classroom the next couple of days, and after that, I'd like to meet with everyone, kind of get everyone around the table so we can really, really support this kiddo. If you could email me some times that work really well for your schedule, because I want to fit into what works for you. I know you're so busy with all that you're doing, so teaching is definitely hard work. So if you could email me, and when I'm in your classroom, just feel comfortable, do things like normal, because I really want to see what works.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And I will see you around the school in the next couple of days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.